All right, I'm here with David Azizi from the law offices of David Azizi, and we're going to discuss something that has come up quite a bit in conversation with at least us and quite a few people I know in the last few months, and that's forklift personal injuries. And in a previous life, I worked in retail, and I saw some of the negligent actions that happen when people drive forklifts, and sometimes it's at a Home Depot or a Lowe's, or most of the time it's in the stock room where the employees are sometimes playing around or messing around and there's no supervision. So forklift personal injuries happen most of the time because the driver is negligent and not really looking where they should look. So I know, David, you've been part of a case with a forklift injury. Explain what happened in that one.
Yeah, this was a very sad, tragic incident. I had a client who was a truck driver, and he went to this particular warehouse to pick up an order. He walked over into the check-in office, and in order to go to the check-in office, you had to cross this pathway which forklifts would go either direction. He went in, checked in, said, "I'm here," and they said, "Okay, fine, go wait in your truck, we'll come and get you." So as he's leaving the pathway, this particular warehouse had stacks and stacks of pallets of boxes put there. So he's coming out, he's about to step in to go, and here's this forklift coming at high speed around the corner with the full load in front of him. And he ends up knocking our client and throwing him down, and our client hit the ground, passed out, knocked out. And when I took the deposition of some of the people that came on to scene afterwards, they admitted that he had a big, almost like a baseball-sized bruise and bump on his head. And throughout the whole process, now, of course, later on, they alleged, oh no, he jumped in front of the forklift had no items, nothing in front of his pallet, and it was our client's fault. But we were able to prove that based on an accident reconstructionist, a truck expert, forklift expert, that this guy was loaded, and had he been driving backwards instead of forward, being that he had a load on his forklift, this accident would have never happened, and we were able to gain a successful recovery on behalf of our client, who unfortunately sustained mild traumatic brain injury. And we can discuss that on another day as far as what the consequences of a mild traumatic brain injury is. I've also had cases which kind of goes along the same line of a forklift, which is somewhere like places like Walmart, Target have what it is called like a hand pallet jack. It's not a forklift, but it's similar to a pallet jack. I had another case where we had this guy who, you see it on video, and I don't know how this guy was just totally negligent. You see during business hours, this guy's with the pallet jack, pulling the pallet jack. In this case, it's fully loaded. He's looking, you would expect he's looking in front of him to see who's there or not, but right about 5 seconds before, 2-3 seconds before, you see our client come around the end cap and stand by the end cap to look to what she wants, and here's the pallet jack guy looking to his left, looking at somebody else, and is totally missing our client and ended up hitting our client with the pallet jack and knocked her down. So there's forklift accidents, pallet jack accidents, which I hope that they don't happen, but unfortunately, like you said, we have negligent operators who are not paying attention or not following the rules as to how they're supposed to transport a pallet of goods from one side to another side, and unfortunately they cause pretty severe injuries. And like I said, in most of these cases that I've handled, because of the load that they're carrying and the amount of force and the speed that they have, most of the time what ends up happening is the people end up getting hit hard and hitting the ground really hard, and unfortunately either have broken bones, spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, you name it, they sustain pretty severe injuries that require surgical and great amount of medical care for them to at least try to get back to how they were before the accident.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, David, because those pallet jacks you mentioned are actually machine operated. They have a little button on them that lift the thing up and down. And having worked a life of retail in a previous life, once a little bit of weight gets off-centered, those things are completely out of control. And two companies that I saw firsthand that I saw major accidents were Coke and Pepsi. Coke and Pepsi drivers lift these, 500-pound pallets of Coke and Pepsi, and they're sometimes negligent. They don't care, and these jacks are crazy. I've had to use one of them before, and I'll never do it again. I'll go ahead and tell you. So,
but the other thing I was going to say, sometimes what happens is they'll have a pallet jack of items on this, and the products are shrink wrapped. So they open it a little bit, or they open it all up, and they start stocking somewhere, and they realize, oh, I need to stock somewhere else, or I've stuck enough on the shelves, I don't need to stock anymore, I'm going to take this back, and here they are dragging a pallet stack of products and goods which are no longer shrink wrapped. And when you have something that's not, there's a reason why they shrink wrap it, because products, once you start taking them, they're moving, they're shaking, and then all of a sudden you can have the whole entire pallet of items, like you said, fall over and cause severe injuries in that sense. So
absolutely,
I totally agree with you.
If that ever happens, please feel free to contact the law offices of David Azizi. The phone number will be in the YouTube video above and below, and this happens more often than not. It's surprising, having worked in retail. I saw it on a weekly basis with a lot of this stuff. So thank you very much for your time, David.
All right, thank you.